Okay, go back in. So we're going to try and see if we can't get them, well, wait for them to swim and be patient and see what they get up to. And while we do that, I believe James has got something that might fly, but is not a bird.
No, it's not a bird, it's not a bat, it's not an aeroplane either, nor is it a land on a flying carpet. It is a butterfly, an acrea butterfly, and it is a spotted acrea butterfly as far as I can tell. Yes, there they are sitting on a leadwood tree. You might notice a slight amount of frustration in my voice. We did find some leopard tracks, female leopard tracks, so either Shongile or, dare I say it, an adult female going down the Umdlomati, but they were from sort of early last night, we think. We have managed to lose those tracks, and now we've sort of run out of light, so we're going to have to turn towards the north. But we just thought we'd give you that update and tell you about these beautiful butterflies that are over here. And I don't know why they're sitting there on the leadwood tree. Doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean, there are no flowers there as far as I can tell. I'm standing away from the tree because I don't want to frighten them, but maybe I'll move in now that you've had a look at them. They shouldn't be flowering now. I'll sneak in and have a look-see. Alright. Now I think they might actually be courting. Those two are having a smooch. That's quite interesting. Smooching butterflies. Well, we're going to head for the north, as I said. While the butterflies smooch themselves and each other, let's head back to Tristan, who has very, very excitedly found the elephants to be swimming.
We have indeed, isn't this amazing? James, they are swimming, which is very exciting indeed. We've been waiting most of the afternoon to see if they would swim, so I'm super glad that they're in. And look, there we go, straight under, and we're going to just see little trunks every now and then. They might push each other around, and soon they might be splashing all over the place. But look at that light. Is that light not incredible? This would be a photographer's dream. The light is amazing. The elephants are swimming. There's going to be splashing, and there's lots of color in that water as well. There's blues, and the green hues of that blue-green algae just make it even better. Such an amazing sighting that we're having. We're being so spoiled by elephants lately. I keep saying it, but it really is true. To be able to spend time with the elephants the way we have over the last few days has been really very, very special indeed. And I hope all of you at home have thoroughly enjoyed it as well. And there we go. Are we both going to go under? There we go. Look at that, just back sticking out. Isn't that amazing? So for two massive animals that really you wouldn't be able to sort of fathom could go underwater, the fact that they're playing and are both underwater like that is just so amazing. And you can see the size difference between the two. Look at the size of the sort of neck area of the one on the right. That's that big male. And then there's a younger bull on the left that's just playing with him at the moment. And you can see he's much, much smaller. And it's probably getting a little bit deep for the younger bull. That's why he's resting on the older one, just trying to stay up and afloat there. And remember, elephants can't actually swim. They're normally walking around on the bottom and then they kind of roll onto their side, and that's why they go completely underwater. This is so special. From butterflies fornicating to elephants swimming. It's not a bad afternoon in the African bush, that's for sure. There we go. It's amazing. It always amazes me when they just completely disappear. Isn't that pretty? I think the other one's got a bit of fear of missing out because he's kind of at the edge testing the water. Why don't you come and join, buddy? It looks like such fun. And the other two certainly are not holding back in any way, so I'm hoping that the third one will come and join. And earlier we saw those elephants around twin dams, and they seemed like they had done exactly the same thing. Some of them had been in the mud, but some were just sort of a dark coloration like you see with these guys. So I'm sure some of them were actually having a really good swim in twin dams as well. So Francis, I've never seen Ellie's drowning. Oh, there we go. We're now typical young male behavior. This is all dominance. So the bigger male is now sort of dominating the younger male just to make sure that he knows that he's the sort of bigger one. In terms of drowning elephants, no. I've never seen an elephant drown in a sort of water hole like this. They know where it gets too deep and where it's not comfortable anymore, and they'll then just kind of move out of there. But in terms of rivers, I've heard of elephants drowning when we get these massive floods. So in the 2012 floods and the 2000 floods that we had on the Sabi and Sand River, elephants were actually being rolled down that river from the amount of water that was coming down. So it does actually happen, and they will then drown if they lose their footing. Ferg, what an incredible shot. Well done. That is amazing. And isn't that light amazing? Wow. So special indeed. We really are being very spoilt by these guys today. That is so nice. And the third one, slowly but surely coming in. He's just edging. He's a little shyer. He's the one that's kind of, the water's not the right temperature for him, but just doesn't want to miss out on all the fun. And so is slowly but surely trying to make his way towards the sort of the other two in the edge of the water. And I'm sure he's going to get dragged in now. And it looks like a situation where you kind of going in and one of your siblings sprays water at you. I wonder if that's not going to happen now. So, John, crocodiles can attack elephants. There's been quite a few documented cases, but it's generally much younger elephants, so smaller, younger elephants that they go after, not these bigger bulls that you see now. A big bull like this is way too powerful, even for that big crocodile that we saw earlier, and so you'll end up with a situation that they'll just throw that crocodile off. But yes, it does happen from time to time, and actually in some areas, like on the lower Zambezi and on the Zambezi River through Zimbabwe, some of the elephants actually have shorter trunks from damage from crocodiles. You'll actually see the chewing part on the sort of end of the trunk, and that gets infected and then rots away. So it can happen, but big bulls like this, no. And this crocodile here in Chitwa Dam knows that these elephants are no good for it. They're far too big and powerful. These crocodiles in this dam will hunt a lot of these Egyptian geese that we saw earlier, and then other species of mammals that we get, so impalas, nyala, waterbuck, and varying other antelopes that we do get. Oh, isn't that incredible? Look at him. Ferg, you see him? He's lifting his head. Sorry, there was the male on the right, had his head way out of the water and was just sort of standing up on his back legs almost. It was amazing just to see this sort of white tusk coming out and that trunk going up. Oh, and it's a porpoising elephant. So we had porpoising hippo the other day. Now we've got an elephant imitating a dolphin and spraying. Oh, this is incredible. Well done, guy. Isn't this amazing? Like I say, the light could not be any better. So it is marvelous. May and Kirsty has reminded me that this is a marvelous sighting. Well, indeed, Kirsty, it is marvelous. I would imagine that many people out there would agree with you and would say marvelous. So maybe we should do a one-word tweet as to what you all feel about this. So hashtag Safari Live, one word. How would you describe this sighting? Kirsty's is marvelous. So let's see what all of the others out there have to say. There we go. Can't not join in the fun. There we go. Now we've got all three of them together. I think that may be the end of the swimming lesson for today. It seems like they're starting to make their way to the edge. I'm going to try and see if I can't just get up a little bit closer towards them, because they're starting to drift away from us a little bit. Although we have such a nice view of our crocodile as well. It's a bit of a sort of fine balance here, and it's difficult to sort of focus on what we want. We've got all the Egyptian geese in front, the elephants swimming in the background. We've got Vladimir the impaler in front as well. So to try and kind of just consider what we want to actually show you is very difficult at this stage. But I think the Ellies are taking the cake at this stage, and with their swimming antics almost. So Ravi, you say unbelievable. Well, I think that's a good one-word tweet. I would say this is pretty unbelievable too. It is, for me, I'm going to use word of the month from last month, which would be spectacular. There we go, Kirst. That's just for Kirsty, because she said we use that word too much. Oh, Bushmum, this is a nice word. You say it's stupendous. It is a stupendous sighting. That would be a very good way to describe all of this. It's probably one of my better elephant sightings I've had in a while. Oh, and now? Isn't this amazing? I'm actually going to keep quiet for a bit, just so you guys can listen to all the sort of splashing that's going on It's so nice, and it's so calming at this dam. So I'm just going to listen to the ellies play around for a little while. Isn't that just such a nice way to spend the afternoon? It's calm, it's quiet, the ellies are playing, the ducks are kind of on the edge. Even the crocodile is having a nice relaxing moment on his little island at this stage. I'll tell you what, when you get close to this crocodile, we saw it from quite far away earlier, and now that we're a little bit closer, I realize just how big this croc actually is. It is massive. I would say easily probably 4 meters. What do you think, Ferg?
Yeah, 3.95.
3.95 from Fergus, there we go. But I reckon that's a massive crocodile. You can just see by the thickness of that tail, and a lot of the crocodile is the tail itself. It's got big, powerful muscles that it's going to use to be able to hunt. And then look at those teeth. And there we go. That's for the people that are not sure the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. There's one of the differences, is the fact that you can see those teeth on the outside of the mouth is a crocodile. Alligators, their jaws scrape, the teeth will fit inside, and you won't be able to actually see the teeth protruding like you do on a crocodile. But you would not want to be inside there. Oh, and you've woken up as well. Hello, Vlad. Good afternoon. That bird is very brave. I don't know if any of you can spot the little thick knee in the front right of the nose there. I'm not sure I'd want to be that close to a big crocodile of this size. Very brave indeed. And both of them are falling asleep. They must be friends. I wonder if they spend every afternoon on this sort of bank together, absorbing the sunlight, and they've just learned to deal with one another. Also, a crocodile of this size probably knows that a little bird that big is not going to be really much of a meal. It would rather go after these Egyptian geese, which is far more of a meal than anything else. And I've seen this particular crocodile take 2 Egyptian geese here at Chitwa Dam. They sit on this bank like this, and then they go under, and as the Egyptian geese come past through this little channel that's between the bank and the edge of the dam, they then grab them, and it's quite a commotion that goes on, as you can imagine. There's lots of honking and hissing from the Egyptian geese. But that's a seriously good meal for a crocodile of that size. It will last him for at least a few weeks before he'll start to turn to fish and other items again. And I see our ellies are still playing, and I don't think we could ask for better light on those 2 elephants at the moment. Absolutely amazing. Oh, it's playtime over. So Aaron, all the way from the land of the long white cloud. Well, Aaron, I hope it's not too cold there, and I hope you're prepping for the rugby this weekend. If there is Super Rugby this weekend, I think there is, and I'm sure in New Zealand, most New Zealanders are big fans of the rugby. And you're saying that your one-word tweet was Chitwa Dam Cam, all in one word. Well, yes, it's just literally everything going on here all together. Oh, there we go. We're going back in again. Bath time is not over, and yeah, I think we should actually have a dam cam. I think it would be very, very nice to have a dam cam here. So much goes on in Chitwa, and as we go on in the year, you'll find more and more and more of these elephants will arrive, and big herds of buffalo should start arriving here. It becomes a phenomenal place to spend the winter months. Now I'm going to try and just see if we can't reposition and get a little bit closer, because they've drifted quite far from us. Let's see if we can't just get a little closer to them. Unfortunately, our signal in this area sometimes gets a little bit dodgy, so I'm not sure if we're going to have a few issues with it, but let's try anyway. Surely will be nice if we can get a little bit closer to them.
Oh, sorry about that, everyone. There is always a risk on Chitwa Dam Wall that the gremlins might attack without any warning, but hopefully once Tristan shifts around a little bit, he'll find some more signal and he'll be back up and running. Realities of live safaris in the middle of the bush. There's only so many repeaters we can put up out here. We've got what we can, and we learn to work around the very limited limitations. I mean, there's not about what we do. So, Tristan's been having an amazing time at the amazingly full Chitwa Dam. I've arrived at Arathusa Dam for the first time in a long time to see what's happening here. Just an update on the Nkuhumas. They're on Simbambili. So they are over there. I know I'm not going to bump into a lion here, but you never know. I might bump into Shadow, Tiani, Saliheshe. I saw Salihesh and Tiani for the first time in a long time on, I don't remember what day it was. Friday. Last week. During our private rehearsal, I saw them. And Saliheshe chased Tiani away from her impala kill. And she saw it pop up probably about 500 meters away, and she still got down off the tree that she was feeding in and chased her daughter, which is inevitable. I mean, Tiani's at mature, fully grown age. Okay, right, not quite as full as Chitwa, I think it's safe to say. Oh no, don't go away, Heron, you were the only thing that we had to look at. Oh, and a waterbuck. One waterbuck and one heron. Here we go. There's our grey heron. Haven't seen all that many of them. And there's our waterbuck. And there is Arathusa Lodge, just in case you were wondering. And when I first started working here, where that heron is standing right there, would have been underwater. Completely, it would have been underwater. Arathusa is one waterhole that has not recovered. Fortunately, the same cannot be said of Chitwa Dam. Let's go back to where it is bursting with life.
Well, yes, the same cannot be said. Chitwa is being a hive of activity this afternoon and has been very special. And our Ellies have come right in front of us now. So we moved slightly and they've now come back to where we are. And they're right in front. Look at this. Isn't this amazing? Looks like a scene out of the Chobe River as they swim along in the rivers there to go get to the vegetation in the middle of the riverbank. Hello. How are you? I wonder if our crocodile is going to move, because they're heading straight towards our crocodile. I wonder if there's going to be a little interaction between the two of them here. Hello, boy. Isn't that amazing? Look at that light on them as they sort of lift their heads up. There's just these golds catching that wet skin. It is unbelievably beautiful. Look at that. You see the gold coloration just around the eyes there and the ears. So special. And there's our crocodile. So if you guys wanted to see how big that crocodile is, these are adult elephants, and look at the size of the crocodile on the right. That is a great sort of scale for all of you that want to realize just how big Vlad is, because it's difficult to give you an idea of how big he is, but now with the adult elephants around, you can see just how large that crocodile is. Absolutely massive. He is huge. So the crocs are pretty chilled for the most part, but they can be incredibly intelligent and lethal to anything in Africa. So you'll find that there's been a lot of times where people have unfortunately succumbed to crocodiles and have gotten themselves into a bad situation. So crocodiles are very sly, very cunning creatures, and not something you want to play around with at all. This crocodile, you can see, is not too worried about the Ellies, but that would be very, very much a concern. If we had to go walk to the edge, you would find that croc probably would slink into the water, and you would not want to get anywhere near them. They can be quite aggressive once you are close to them, and if this is a female and it had babies, then they can also be incredibly aggressive towards anybody or anything that comes near their babies. Now our Ellies are just sort of going behind the hill and onto the wrong side of the light, so I want to try and reposition ourselves slightly. Let's just see if they actually do go onto the island though. So Ferg's just reminded me of the crocodile. I forgot about Vlad. I'm sorry about that, Ferg. Isn't that amazing? Let's see now. Croc, are you going to give way? That's amazing. Discretion is the better part of valor, and it seems Vladimir has got nerves of steel, I would say, to just sit there very quietly. The birds certainly gave up and they all ran away. That's absolutely amazing. It's not every day that we're going to be able to see things like this where elephants and crocodiles interacting in the same area, particularly here in the Sabi Sands. Maybe in the Mara River, but here in the Sabi Sands, it's very seldom that we're able to witness this because our population of crocodiles is not nearly as big as other parts of the world, and also we don't find our elephants spending massive amounts of time in water, so the sort of combination of the two is very, very seldom seen. Isn't that amazing? In the background, the elephant, the thick knees, the crocodile. So cool. So Janet, the Ellies can't see underwater. They just close their eyes, then they go underwater. They're much like us. They don't have that membrane that a crocodile has that goes over the eyes and seals it and stops the water getting into their eyes. You must also remember that this water is not exactly clean. It's not like they would be swimming in distilled water, so the chances of infections and things would be very real if they kept their eyes open, and they'd get sticks and all kinds of bits of debris in there. So the elephants close the eyes, and they don't have to worry. You can see the crocodile is not being aggressive to the elephants in any way, so the elephants really don't have to worry. They're not too concerned about all of this, and the crocodiles won't go after big bull elephants like this, and that's why they can swim with their eyes closed. And you see they don't spend much time under. They go under and then they pop their heads up again straight away, so it's really not a big train smash for them to close their eyes when they're underwater. It's not like they really need to see where they're going because they're so big they just push anything out the way as they go along. But that is such a cool shot. So all of you that are out there that like screenshots, this afternoon has been one for you, and this one in particular. Birds, crocodile, elephant. There we go. And a little black crake coming out. See it running across there? So I don't know if many of you have black crake on your bird list. It just had a quick sort of run through. Too much commotion, and there goes Vlad. Here we go. It's going to slink into the water. Watch this. Isn't that amazing? Awesome. And gone. Just like that. Isn't that incredible? You can see why they're so sneaky. Now that crocodile, if it wanted to, would be able to hold its breath for up to 2 hours. It can stay underwater for 2 hours, and the reason it can do that is it can slow its heartbeat to 2 beats per minute. So it means that it can get a very low heartbeat. It's just going off to the left there. There we go. And it will be able to stop that blood flow going around the body too much and wasting oxygen. They also can restrict their blood circulation system into their legs and into their tail to make sure that they're not wasting oxygen by sending too much blood to the tail and legs when they're sitting dormant on the bottom of the water or on the bottom of the dam. And so they can then sit and wait for 2 hours long. So they can see a water buck coming, let's say, and they'll come right to the edge, and then they just sit there and they wait. And the water buck take an hour to get there, but they don't know that the crocodile's there because the crocodile is just below the surface of the water. And there we go, it went under now. And as they then come closer, they'll strike, which is pretty incredible. But how amazing was that, just to see him slinking away and into the water? Absolutely special. Now we've also got the most incredible sunset behind us as well. It's all happening at Chitwa Dam, and we are being so spoilt. So I might just ask Ferg just to show you quickly before it goes away, because it's just coming through this dead tree, and it's quite a beautiful shot of that sunset through the dead tree. There we go. Amazing.
Oops.
So Nick, who's watching all the way from the Okavango Delta. Now Nick, I used to work with Nick at Lion Sands, and he says it's good to see us on Safari Live. And well, there's another herd of elephants that has just arrived behind us that we didn't even know was coming. Isn't this incredible? Out of nowhere, elephants have just arrived behind us. Neither Ferg or myself even heard them, and if it wasn't for the fact that we looked for the sunset, we would have not known that the elephants were here. And we've got a cheeky little one. Hello, what are you up to? There's a big dam. You don't have to get cross with me being in your way. Go past us, come on. There we go. Now I apologize if there's some cables and aerials in the way. Ferg has got his backside in my face at this stage because he's trying to get himself into a position where he can actually film these elephants. Sorry about that, everybody. So you might find a few sort of cables and poles and things, but it's better than having Ferg's bum in the way, I can tell you now, which was what I just experienced. So the rest of the elephants will slowly come down, but there's our beautiful sunset as well. Oh, Egyptian geese are being chased as well. Now, now elephants are causing havoc with the Egyptian geese population as well. You can hear there's honking and hissing going on. Now watch, this one is going to come and chase them as well. I think now, sorry, I'm making Ferg do some work. Sorry, Ferg, you are being a gymnast this afternoon, but it is quite funny to watch these young bull elephants chasing these geese. Obviously, young bulls want to just impress anybody with their size. There we go. There's one coming into frame. Egyptian geese are scattering. Isn't that amazing? Very, very cool. Leave the Egyptian geese alone. Don't be naughty. And there we go. That's that. Absolutely amazing. Now, we're going to sit and just enjoy this because this is just so spectacular and we are being absolutely spoiled. So while we enjoy it, let's go back to James and see what he's up to and whether he's having as much fun as what we are.
We've had to walk very fast and very far. The sun is going down. And we have failed to find any further evidence of leopards. That's not actually true. We have walked quite far, but it's not too exhausting. Herbert's just up ahead. We found 2 trucks of male leopards, and I think we found where Tingana turned south and went this afternoon, but unfortunately no more of Shongile or whatever female that was that we had. Gorgeous view of the sun going down. I must just apologise, of course, for our complete lack of any kind of animal content on this drive. Tristan has rather been hogging the limelight. Well, you know, that's up to him. He's managed to find all the animals. Well done to him. Sucks to me. Let's have a quick look here before we continue our route march home. Herbert has really been route marching us. Oh, I was hoping we'd find something like this. This is very cool. So this is Solanum panduriforme. It is also known as the poison apple, and it's got a very sort of poisonous yellow fruit, which is, well, it's not deadly, but it is poisonous. And I wondered, as I stopped to look here, I thought to myself, I wonder if I will find some kind of creature that has been eating these leaves. You can see the leaves have been eaten away, and we have found the culprit. There it is. And it's a very subtly but beautifully coloured grasshopper. And I don't know which one it is, but you can see here that I wonder, you know, whatever makes the poison apple poisonous, I wonder if it doesn't make this grasshopper poisonous as well, giving it that very slight aposematic coloration. You can see it's got some orange and some black and a bit of copper, burnished copper. He really is very pretty, and sort of some pale creamed honey, I suppose you might call it. And now he's hopped a war. How very sad that he's hopped a war and left us alone. Good. Right, shall we carry on, Craig, and continue our merry way towards home? We went all the way to the southeast, not quite to the corner, but to quite close to the corner where Jamie had the tracks of the Styx Pride this morning. We found the tracks, but I'm pretty sure that they are the ones that went south, so unfortunately they were no go. But there's a female leopard around there somewhere, and I think it's really encouraging. And if I was to be extremely excited, and what's the word I'm going for here? Optimistic, I would say it's an adult. I would say it probably might have not have been Shongile, and maybe her mum. Who knows? We'll check down there again tomorrow. In the meantime, the sun is going. Let's head across back to the far west to Arathusa, where it's not quite far enough west for it to be a different time, but Jamie is there with an impala.
We're definitely not in a different time zone, but we are indeed with a herd of impala. And of course, as you came across to us, the sun dipped just below the horizon because we had such beautiful light on them. And they stopped what they were doing, which was the male alarm calling at another male, just to make sure, even though it was probably about, I would say, 500 meters along the airstrip, just to make sure that he didn't make the mistake of approaching this male's well-gathered harem. So in rutting time, the impala make all kinds of confusing noises. It's important to be able to distinguish the slightly higher pitch to a male's rutting call. And then, of course, they make that low, almost, I don't know how to describe it, it's a sort of a gobbling, roaring sound, but their sharp alarm call, that sharp bark, is a bit higher in pitch than if they've seen something like a leopard. So they all look perfectly relaxed. I think we're going to carry on along the airstrip. Maybe, just maybe, we'll get lucky. And a leopard's thinking what I'm thinking, and that's that this is a prime hunting area. Tingana loves this spot. This is the last place I saw Saleshe. Shadow likes to spend a lot of time on the eastern side of the airstrip. But who knows what we shall find. We're all alone today on Arathusa, so we could find anything. Might even find, if I speed up a little bit, a nice view of the sunset. All those jackal. I'd love to find the jackal. This place is the land of the crowned lapwing. They are everywhere. Now, that is a crowned lapwing for our new viewers, a very common bird that we see out here. And there must be, I would say there's a good 50 living around this airstrip. They love these open spaces, especially where the grass is short. Not difficult to see why it's called a crowned lapwing, is it? It's that quite aggressive run. It was thinking about chasing the Senegal lapwings that decided not to stick around. Oh, I see something. I see something up ahead. The jackal might not be around, or at least I haven't seen them yet, but the Arathusa airstrip warthogs are. That or... no, I'm not imagining things. Definitely the Arathusa warthogs. Hold on. We got a little bit of journey to get there first. I really wanted to see the jackal here. I haven't seen jackal in a long, long time. Okay. Well, it's nice to know I'm not alone in my desire to see jackal. James Richard on the same page, and I know Aaron would be as well. I don't know if Aaron's watching, but Aaron also loves jackal. They're not the only two people that love jackal, but they certainly are the two that are... Oh, there we go. Aaron is watching. We've got two people that are eager to see jackal, and I'm sure far more than two. Now I just have to find them. I found some warthogs, though, instead. So we started our afternoon with warthogs, and we're continuing our afternoon with warthogs. Snuffling along. This is the perfect spot for species like impala and warthog. It's really nice and open. So the only time they have to be nervous is night time, and of course the warthog at that point will be safely tucked away in their burrows. They don't have to worry about being hunted. Well, they have to worry less about being hunted by something. But during the day, there's water, there's plenty of food, and a nice open space, so they don't have to worry about something sneaking up on them. And it's almost at the point where it's time for them to go to bed. Just as the sun's going down and it's starting to get harder and harder to distinguish between different shapes. What a lovely idea. Mary says that don't I think warthogs always look as though they're wearing high heels? I know exactly what you mean. They do, don't they? Or maybe, oh goodness, my fashion sense really kicking in here. What do you call those shoes? They were wedges. They look a little bit like they're wearing wedges, although I see where the high heel bit comes from, because they've got those two little dew claws sticking out at the back of their foot that look so much like they've got heels on. Seb, it sounds like we should have been at Chitwa this afternoon. Tristan has found yet another wonderful creature to show you.
We have indeed. We've got a fish eagle that is just watching the catfish that are starting to come up now and just slurp on the surface. Every now and then you see these whiskers coming up, and that's what the fish eagle is looking for. You see how it's watching very carefully, and I wonder if it's not going to start coming down to try and grab a meal just before the sun sets. So you can see it's looking really intently. So we'll have to watch that. We've got another herd of elephants that's arrived. We've got baby waterbuck. The elephants are still swimming. It's just been the most chaotic afternoon at Chitwa Dam, but the most incredible afternoon as well. You can see the little baby waterbuck is just to the left of these baby elephants, and shame those baby elephants chased this baby waterbuck everywhere. They were being very naughty. There it is, and you can see it's looking a bit bewildered. It's wondering probably, why am I being chased all over the show? But that's what happens when you're small, I'm afraid, little one. But there is nothing cuter than a baby waterbuck. They are really one of the cutest animals that there is out here. They're fluffy and kind of got this shaggy coat and that cream color, and it looks like they've got a massive scarf on with this furry kind of neck that they have. Yes, best to get away from the elephants, little one. They're not going to be anything but trouble. And I see a little baby elephant is now starting on the Egyptian goose. It's left the waterbuck alone. Mom's going to follow him behind. Now there's a little baby elephant on the edge of the water that has been throwing water at the Egyptian goose and causing all kinds of trouble there. There we go, see? Don't be naughty, little one. You've chased the waterbuck already. Stop chasing everything else. Really has been, what a special afternoon. I actually don't know how many elephant herds we must have seen this afternoon, but we've probably seen easily 100 elephants this afternoon. What do you think, Ferg? Maybe?
Yeah, right.
Feels like that.
Yeah.
There's just been elephants coming out of everywhere, and we've still got our two are still playing around. There's a hippo in the background up against the tree. What are you up to? Don't chase the Egyptian geese, leave them. There's our two still busy playing in the water. The third bull is busy feeding where the crocodile was, is on that island. But these two left and have now decided it's time to be back in the water again and are still going crazy. You know what, Ferg, I think it might be quite nice if they continue to be there. Maybe we put a bit of infrared on and see what it looks like in infrared. Splashing illies in infrared might be quite fun. So we'll definitely try that just now if they still are in the water. Oh, there comes our baby elephant again causing trouble. You can hear the Egyptian geese are all going crazy. So there we go. Stop it. Don't chase them. Leave them alone. Why are you chasing them? For what? And now we're going to play with a stick. Now the stick is getting in trouble with this elephant. You've got lots of character, little one. It's just a stick, don't worry. Isn't that amazing? Look how it's, because its stick is too big for... Oh, you're getting caught up. No, be careful. Oh, I can just see this elephant's about to fall over the stick and fall into the water, and then there will be trouble. But look at that. Oh, now the blacksmith lapwings are getting chased. Leave all the birds alone. Don't be naughty. That's very funny. Well, what a special afternoon this has been. No bird is safe from this elephant. Blacksmith lapwings, starlings. You see the starling being evicted there. Egyptian geese. It really is a tough life if you're a bird around the edge of this waterhole this afternoon. You've been chased about by I don't know how many different animals. I'm sure they're going to be very happy with it when everybody leaves the scene and it all becomes a little quieter in this area. I'm sure the Egyptian geese will be. Not that they are the quietest animals themselves, they're still making quite a bit of noise as well, so it's a noisy affair, Chitwa Dam, at this stage. Oh, the light on these two males on the water, just the reflection is so pleasant. Look at those pinks on the reflection there, and the two ellies swimming. So there's another opportunity for some great screenshots. For those of you that like screenshots, the color of that light on the water is amazing. Is that it, boys? Are we done playing now? It's been a good hour of playing in the water. So let's see now if they start coming our way. And hopefully they're not going to want to play with us now. I'm not in the mood for naughty little elephants. I don't want to have them pushing us around. We're in an area where we've got quite sort of difficult signals, so we have to try and stay quite still. Otherwise we lose signals. If they come close and we start having to move, it might be a bit of a problem. That's better. Well done, guys. There is fine. No, we're not finished pushing one another around yet. Isn't this amazing? Oh, that colour in the water is incredible. With the green of the algae and that sort of pinky purple hue. It is very, very pretty. Now, I might have to just get out of Fergus's way here. Is that not one of the most regal pictures as this elephant just slowly strides past us? You see into its eye like that. That is amazing. And see all the bits of algae on the face, little dots of green that have stuck to the ears and the face from swimming. There we go. Oh, that's amazing. You're not drinking any of that. What are you doing? You'll find though sometimes with this algae, the elephants actually won't drink too much, because what happens is they take a mouthful and that algae gets sucked up into the trunk, and they'll then try and spray that out first before actually trying to get water in for themselves and then actually drinking. So there we go. Now, it is that time of the day where the schools are going to be joining us for an educational experience this afternoon. So we're going to go across to James so he can welcome all of them to you.
Hello everybody from Crawford Plains, Charles W. Murray and Marty Elementary Schools there in the United States of America. The sun has just set on southern Africa. My name is James Hendry, on camera is Craig today, and you are with us until the end of our drive, which will be 6 o'clock our time, and can you believe it, it's going to be pitch black dark by then. Now, I'm coming down off this termite mound, but before I do that, I must just tell you that I'm not going to be with you for the whole drive because it's dark, and when it gets dark, we want to be indoors. We don't want to be out on foot. Perfectly safe to be on the cars, and you'll spend most of the time with Jamie and Tristan. They're going to be driving you around and showing you some interesting things. And I'll just show you one interesting thing here. You can see this white patch there on the top of this mound. Now this mound, as many of you might know, is occupied by millions and millions of termites. But when it gets cold, like it does these days because we're going into winter, you will find that the termites close the place up. But when it was open, and it could have been open as early as this morning, the birds come, and the birds eat the termites. And that white bit there is the dung of a bird, a dropping from probably a hornbill that you would better know as Izazu. And in fact, I thought I heard one. No, I didn't. So the sun has gone down, and we'll show you where it's gone down. Let's go this way. You can see there the sun has gone down on the far western horizon, and it's just sort of turned from the lovely pink and orange colours, and slowly as Craig shows you the rest of the horizon, you can see it changing colour as we go around. And then if we look this way over here, that's one of my favourite colours to see at this time of the day. You can see the beautiful pink colours, and then just below that, can you see that very dark colour? That very dark colour is basically the night. It's like a big blanket of nighttime that's coming over from that side of the sky, and it's going to cross over until we're covered in the most beautiful stars. Because we get wonderful, wonderful stars in this part of the world. We are, of course, in the northeast corner of South Africa, and we're not near any big cities, and so the stars will be beautiful tonight because there's no light coming from the ground. And I know where most of you are, you're in cities, and if you go up and look at the skies at night, you can see 1 or 2 stars, but until you go out into the wilderness, especially if you go out into a dry desert area, you can't believe the many billions of stars that you would see. Now, let's have a quick look over here. This area here is an enormous big pile of dung, and just before it got light this morning, I'll tell you what happened here. A rhino came along here, and he went like this. And then what he did was he went to the loo. He put his dung there, and then he stood in his dung. Now, a rhino has actually got quite nice smelling dung because they don't eat grass. And then he walked And he began to walk like this. And because he'd stepped in his dung, the path that he walked began to smell just like him. And so as he walked through the grass like this, probably up through this path and up into the bush like that, he left his smell all the way down the path that he walked. And that told all the other rhino in the area that this was his place and they weren't to come around here. Now I'm going to hand you all the way to the southeast in the dying light, where Tristan is sitting with some of the most beautiful animals doing one of the most fun things.
We are indeed, Jamie. We are so spoilt this afternoon. We are sitting with one of my favorite animals and the beautiful sunset. Now, my name is Tristan, and on camera I've got Ferg, and we have got a beautiful herd of elephants and naughty bull elephants playing. Listen. Did you hear that? That's the elephants talking to one another. They're starting to come down. Another herd is arriving, and they're coming to where these two bulls are playing. So, Sadler, you're wondering how long elephants can hold their breath under the water. Well, not very long. You'll find that they go under the water, and look at them running to the water. Isn't this amazing? You can see they can move quite quickly, even though they're very big animals. So, Sadler, they only hold their breath for a few minutes, and they don't need to hold their breath for long because they can lift their trunk very, very high and be able to get the air even if they're underwater. So they don't hold their breath for very long. They're not like the hippos that will hold their breath for 7 minutes, or the crocodile that we do get in this dam that can hold its breath for almost 2 hours, which is a very long time. So it is very, very different. And the elephants, like I say, they just put their trunk up and they breathe when they want to. But isn't this amazing? And look at how they're getting water. It's been a hot day this afternoon. They've all had to have a sort of day in the sun, and it's been a little bit difficult for them. So now they're coming to have a little bit of water just to ease off that heat. So, Billy, you're wondering what the elephants use their trunks for. Well, Billy, they use it for all kinds of things. One is to be able to play like the two males on the right-hand side. And the other is to be able to drink like you see now. You see these animals, they're able to suck up water into their sort of trunk, and they'll be able to take up as much as 8 liters inside that trunk, which is incredible. And they'll then spray it into their mouths. They'll also be able to use the trunk to feed. They use the trunk to be able to breathe the air that we breathe, and they also use the trunk to protect themselves. So if they come across something that's trying to hurt them, they'll throw their trunk at it, and they can then knock it over and away from them. So the trunk is very, very useful. If you're an elephant, you need your trunk in order to survive. Now, isn't this amazing? Look at the beautiful colors in the background. Now you can see our two boys are still being naughty on the other side there. They're still playing and pushing each other around. Look. Now I'm sure that's like some of you and your siblings when you're in the swimming pool, all pushing one another around and chasing each other around. So when you're with your brother and sister, I'm sure you play games just like this. Now remember, you can ask any questions that you want. So just ask your teachers, and if you want to know anything more about the elephants, you can ask. Now in the background there is actually a bird there. You see, sitting on the dam wall is a fish eagle. So that is called an African fish eagle, and it looks a little bit like a bald eagle. So it's the same kind of eagle. It does go after fish and sort of anything that is around the water. Sometimes it'll catch lizards, sometimes it'll go after terrapins, and even crabs sometimes. So they do go after varying things, but fish is their favorite. And it's sitting there because now's the time of day that the fish are going to come up to the surface, because there's catfish, and the catfish breathe air, and so they have to come to the surface, and then the fish eagle can swoop down and grab them with those rough scaled feet and pick up the catfish and then fly into the tree and be able to eat it up there. So that's what that bird is doing. But isn't it beautiful? And they have the most amazing call.
Oh, sorry about that, everybody. Tristan disappeared off your screens and we're racing along. A very warm welcome to the schools joining us this afternoon. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon, or this evening, we've got Sebastian on camera with me. And the reason we were chatting frantically to each other was because we just noticed there was a little bit of a problem with the electricity that runs to the different lodges on this reserve. So we were just chatting to each other about letting the right people involved know so that they can come and fix it. Right, so it's evening time here in South Africa, and evening is a very exciting time because all sorts of interesting nocturnal creatures come out to play. And one of the things that I'm hoping to show you is a very special place. Now we have to just cross our fingers and hold our thumbs, which is what we do here in South Africa for good luck, and I think around most of the rest of the world as well, because I'm really hoping they're going to be at home this evening. It's nice and cool. They were around this morning, so there's a good chance that they're going to come out. But I'm going to take you to the home of a very special spotted creature. And it's not a leopard, but it is a predator, and it's my absolute favorite predator. So that's why we're going quite quickly, because I know that you have a limited time with us. So we're going to try and get you there quickly. Now Maggie would like to know how many animal kills we see a day. Not that many, Maggie. I was going to tell you a silly story and tell you we see lots and lots, but we don't actually. The most kills that we see are insects, spiders hunting other insects, birds catching insects. We see a lot of those sorts of kills. But in terms of animal kills, well, it depends. Sometimes we have a run of good luck, and it is luck. You have to just get lucky. And you have to be in the right place at the right time. And for something like, let's say, a leopard, we have to be very, very careful about how we follow that leopard if it's hunting, because a leopard relies upon stealth. And if let's say we're driving next to a leopard, but we drive over a big branch, that leopard would just have stepped over it quietly. But if we drove over a big branch and it snapped, and then whatever the leopard was hunting looked across and saw the leopard, then that would be our fault that the leopard didn't manage to catch its food. So sometimes we miss out on seeing kills because we have to be extra specially careful, but that's the right thing to do. Anita, you would like to know how many animals are cute but deadly. Let me think about what would I call cute. Hyenas are cute. I think hyenas are very, very cute, but they can be absolutely deadly, and everybody always thinks of them as a scavenger, but they're not just scavengers, they also hunt for themselves. I don't know if I'd describe adult lions as cute, but young lions are very, very cute. What other things are cute but deadly? Boomslangs. I wonder if I have a picture of a boomslang in my box for you. A boomslang is a type of snake that I think looks cute because it's got very big eyes. Sorry, I'm making a lot of rattling noises. Here we go. Give me 1 sec, I'll find you a picture of a boomslang. It's the most, drop by drop, the most venomous snake that we get out here. It can, with just 2 tablespoons of its venom, can kill lots and lots and lots of people. Right, now I must just remember how the alphabet works, and then I will find it for you. Boomslang, there we go. But you can see why I think it's cute, because, let's see if there's a better picture on this page. There we go, this is why I think it's cute. Don't you think that looks cute? Don't you think that looks like a really cute little snake? Look at its eyes. It's adorable. Or maybe that's just me. Seb, do you think it's adorable? I think it's adorable. And here's another boomslang. This is a baby boomslang with a bright green eye. See how cute it looks? So that's something that is cute but very deadly. You definitely don't want to be bitten by a boomslang. You'll be fine. You'll go straight to hospital and you'll be absolutely fine. But it will make you feel very, very sick because their venom is what's known as hemotoxic. In other words, it makes your blood quite, if I can describe it as runny. It doesn't clot very easily, which means that if you injure yourself, it will just keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. What else is cute but deadly? I don't know, I've been bitten by a mongoose. I've been bitten by a mongoose before, but I'm not sure I'd describe that as deadly. It was cute though, and its bite did hurt. Emma, you want to know how many big cats we see out on safari. We've got 3 big cats, 3 different types of big cats that we see here. One is a lion, one is a leopard, and one is a cheetah. And the 2 that people get confused most with is the leopard and the cheetah. But actually, once you get to know them, they're very, very different animals. A cheetah, even though a leopard and a cheetah both basically have spots, a cheetah is built for speed. So it's quite long and it's got long, strong legs, but quite a thin animal. And its spots are totally solid. So they're solid. Whereas a leopard is quite a short but a very strong animal. And their spots make almost like a circle on their bodies. So those are the big cats that we get here. We also get little cats as well. We get a little cat that looks like a miniature cheetah called a serval. And we get a type of cat with pointy ears called a caracal. Seb thought... Seb thought he saw, and then we get the 4th elusive big cat, and that's a termite mound that looks like a leopard. And we see those a lot. Arathusa, you want to know what sort of animals do we mostly find? I've got something very cool to show you, actually, just quickly, before we go to our special place. Impala, we see lots and lots and lots of impala out here. That's the most common antelope. We see lots of wildebeest. We see lots of different types of bird species like hornbills. And we see lots of termites. And this is a vulture. So this isn't what I was planning on taking you to, but it kind of fits because this is a massive scavenging bird that has settled down for the evening. So it's a type of bird called a white-backed vulture. You can see it's got a very, very sharp beak, and when you see a beak like that, you immediately know that that type of bird will eat meat. And vultures, of course, famous for scavenging off various kills. Hello. And the reason that it's there on this dead tree is because that's where it's going to sleep tonight. Well, vultures like to roost in dead trees. It's a good safe spot for them, and they don't have to worry about getting their wings caught in various leaves if they were to go in a living tree. Now, Aria, you want to know whether it's easier to find animals in winter or summer, and the reason that I did a little chuckle was because maybe I'm the wrong person to ask today, Aria, because I haven't found anything except this white-backed vulture. Definitely easier to find the animals in winter, and let me explain why. One, there's not nearly as much grass, and a lot of the leaves aren't on the trees, and so what that means... Oh, there it goes. Flying off to find a new perch. That one obviously wasn't very comfortable. So what it means is that you can see further. So the grass isn't as long. And then in summer is our rainy season. We get lots and lots and lots of rain in summer, which means that it's harder for us to find animals because it washes away all of their footprints. Whereas in winter, the ground gets very dry, so it gets nice and loose and sandy, and it's much easier for us to see the footprints of the animals. So definitely winter, but that doesn't mean we don't see animals in summer. It just means we probably see more of them. There's one other reason we see more animals in winter. It's because there's no water except for certain areas. There's no puddles. So there's puddles for the animals to drink at during our summer, but during our winter they have to go to the big water holes. So they're all together in a group around a water hole, and it's much, much easier to find them. Now, Janetta, you want to know what animals hunt by themselves. Janetta, all of the big cats can hunt by themselves, but generally lions will hunt as a pride, so they'll hunt together. but a leopard will hunt on her own or his own because they're relatively solitary animals. They mostly live all by themselves. And then cheetah as well, especially female cheetah, because sometimes male cheetah live together in a group, either a pair or 3 or 4 males together, but females live on their own, so they have to hunt all by themselves. And then there's certain bird species as well. A lot of the birds of prey will hunt all by themselves. I'm going to go and see if I can get you to this special place and see whether the special creatures are home. But for now, let's head back to Tristan, who is still at one of the big water holes.
We are indeed, and look, we're with the little baby waterbucks and the nice sunset in the background. Isn't that beautiful? Our elephants, unfortunately, have all run all over the place, and they trumpeting and chasing one another, so I don't know why they're all upset about something. It might be something to do with the big male that is just next to us that might have come in and chased them all, so hopefully he behaves himself, because I don't want to be flattened by an elephant. Elephants are very big animals and very, very powerful, so you have to be a bit careful. And here comes our big bull elephant. That's why the waterbuck are up on the mound, to try and stay safe. So, Nolan, you're wondering how the elephants protect themselves from the lions. Look at how beautiful that sky is with the elephant. So, you'll see that this elephant's now going to just come underneath the sunset. Nolan, what happens is with the elephant is because it's so very big, the lions know that it's not really something that must be eaten. The elephant is too big, too strong, too powerful, and so you'll find a situation where they are not able to sort of go after them, and that, coupled with the fact that the elephant is probably one of the most powerful animals that we have in the African bush, means that the lions just don't go anywhere near them. They try and just leave them alone, and they know that it's really not worth trying to go after a big elephant like this, because it's just going to mean that they're going to get killed. But if a lion did attack them, one is they will use their trunk and they'll try and knock the lions away. They'll use those big tusks to try and stab at the lions, and that big forehead to try and hit the lions away. So that's how they'll try and protect themselves. But generally the lions here are clever enough to know that if they try and get hold of an elephant, they're going to probably in all likelihood get killed. So you'll find that the lions try and stay away from the elephants as much as possible when it comes to actually eating. And here the elephants really are the king of the jungle in this particular area. You can see he's having a nice scratch. So, yeah, yes, the elephants are very much stronger than the crocodiles. They are massive animals. A crocodile, when it's as big as it can get, will weigh about a ton. So that is 2,000 pounds basically, whereas an elephant, a big male elephant, can weigh close to 12,000 pounds at his biggest, maybe even more, so they can get really, really big. It's 12 times the size of the crocodile, and they can keep that crocodile, 6 times the size of the crocodile, sorry, forgive my maths, don't be like me, pay attention with maths. And you can see we've just changed now into infrared. So I know it's gone green. The reason why we've changed into infrared is because it's better for the animals. We don't affect their eyes, and it means that we can watch them in the dark without having to worry about the light and it getting too dark, and you can see the elephants a lot better. So it really is much better for us to have our infrared lights on. So we just need to make sure that we don't shine the lights into the elephant. So, Kevin, elephants are not hairy. They have got hair at the end of their tails. You can see that tail there has got a bit of hair, and they've got some hairs on their noses or on their trunks and on their sort of sides of their body. But it's not like you'll see with the antelope, like that waterbuck that's very, very fluffy. It's not the same at all. The elephants have very little hair. They're almost like us as people that does have a little bit of hair, but not too much. So I'm just going to put my light on a little bit just so you can see the detail on his skin. You can see he's got wrinkly skin, but there's a few hairs there, not too many, and a few hairs on the tail as well. But look at all the insects. Can you see all the insects flying around? Because we're next to water, all of these insects have come out in clouds around this area, and it's really quite uncomfortable. So I'm sure the elephants at some stage are going to get irritated, and that's why you'll see the tail is swinging every now and then. It's trying to keep those insects away from his body. It's not very comfortable when insects are biting you all the time. And now he's having a good scratch. He's going to scratch his ear. Look, there we go. when you're an elephant and you've got a scratch, you have to use a big tree. Isn't that clever? And you don't have hands, it's not easy to scratch behind those big ears, and so that's why they use a big tree like that to be able to give themselves a really, really good scratch. Can you hear it? You can actually hear his rough skin rubbing up against the tree. It's amazing. Oh, now we don't have a little bum scratch. No scratching is complete without a bum scratch when it comes to an elephant. They love to come up against a tree and just scratch their bums a little bit. It's obviously a difficult place to reach when you are so long and you don't have hands, and so that's why they do it up against a tree. It can be quite comical from time to time when they do it. Now you see he's resting a little bit, so he's now been playing the whole afternoon in the water, and it's time just to take a little bit of a break. And now that all the sort of other elephants have disappeared a little bit and they've gone quiet, I think it's time for everyone just to have a nice rest and enjoy the last few sort of rays of light before the complete darkness takes over and things like lions and leopards start to prowl. So, Jacques, mother elephants are very protective, much like human mothers. They are the same. They know that with their mothers, they have to, well, mothers know that there's lots of danger out here. So there's hyena, there's leopard, there's lions, there's snakes, crocodiles, and they know that all of those things want to eat their babies. And so that's why they have to be very, very protective. Can you hear the trumpeting? That's amazing. So that's a mommy elephant that's a little bit cross at the moment, and she's making sure that she's keeping her babies safe because they don't want their babies to be killed. They're like our moms. Our moms will do everything to keep us safe. It's the same thing. They want to look after their babies as much as possible. What's interesting though is that a male of this size, this big male that we see here in front, he's not going to look after the babies at all. He doesn't look after the little baby elephants. He doesn't take them anywhere, doesn't protect them. It's all up to the mommy to do it, and that's probably why the moms are so protective, because they can't rely on the daddies to help at all. It is so amazing. We're sitting here and the elephants are trumpeting, but it's coming down the slope of the valley and into this dam area, and it's echoing. So every time one elephant trumpets, it sounds like 4 of them are trumpeting around us. It is the most amazing sound. And I'm not sure why she's so angry, but there's a female that is very angry. She's trumpeting non-stop. Maybe she's bumped into a big bull elephant. Sometimes they don't like when the males are around because the males pester them and chase them around, and so then they shout at the males and tell him to go away. So I hope you're wondering how sharp the elephant's tusks are. Well, it depends on the elephants. Some elephants break their tusks and then they rub them and they become very, very sharp. Other elephants, their tusks just grow out and they don't break, and then they have a little rounded tip to them. But they're not very sharp when it comes to what we consider sharp, like a knife. The thing is, though, is with an elephant, is that even though it's not that sharp, because of the amount of weight and power behind this elephant, if it tries to push that tusk into something, it goes right through it, because the tusk has got so much weight and power behind it that even though it's blunt, it can still go through and penetrate whatever it's trying to do. So they will sometimes do it into a tree so that they can pull the bark off, that they can feed off the bark. They'll dig it into the ground to lift up roots, and then, like we were saying earlier, if a lion tries to attack them, they'll then go after the lion as well. So they use it for a lot of things, and even if it's blunt, it can work very well. Talia, the elephants don't actually sleep that much. They will generally sleep in areas like this. If it's a herd of elephants, which is all the mommies and babies, then they'll stay in an open section where the mommies are able to then feed, and the babies will lie down like that small little elephant that's going away now. They can lie down and then they can feed. The big male elephants, they'll go to a tree like that one that was at just now, and they'll put their heads up against the tree and they'll actually sleep standing up. But most of the time, elephants will only sleep for about 20 minutes. They don't sleep for much longer than that. So 20 minutes at a time, and then they'll wake up, and then in a few hours time another 20 minutes, and that's how it goes. So they don't spend too much time actually looking for somewhere to sleep. They don't have a bedroom like we do. Right. Unfortunately, our elephants are ghosting off into the darkness of night, and so we're not going to follow them too much further, because it's quite dangerous to follow elephants at night when you can't see them, especially if they're trumpeting and are a little bit angry. And so while we do that, let's go across to Jamie, who's still in search of those special animals that come out at night.
am in search of the special animals that come out at night. Unfortunately, I went to where I was going to take you, which was the spotted hyena den, and I didn't have very much luck at all. It seems as though the baby hyenas are sleeping this evening. They're fast asleep somewhere safe and tucked away in their beds, which is underneath the surface of the ground, and their mom is away. But we do get all kinds of special creatures that come out at night, like this bronze-winged courser. And Kira, you want to know if all of the animals stay up all night. No, they don't. A lot of them will sleep, but not for too long. Sorry, I thought I heard an owl calling, but I don't think I was right. So absolutely, animals will sleep at night, like those elephants with Tristan, the impala, all of the what we call diurnal animals. But they don't sleep for too long, because obviously if you're something like an impala, then it's actually quite dangerous to not be paying too much attention. So one will go to sleep and one of the others will be awake and looking around for any danger, and then the others will go to sleep and that one will wake up, and so on. And then there's some animals, like lions for example, that spend a lot of time awake at night, and spotted hyenas as well. They might stop to have a nap, but like this bronze-winged courser, which is the bird we're looking at, they are nocturnal creatures, so they're out during the evening. And I did hear an owl, now that our bronze-winged courser has flown away. It's a type of owl, but it's a bit too far away for us to see. Now, Marek, you want to know, what do you usually do on a safari? Well, it depends on where you are and what sort of safari you're doing. But if you're somewhere like here, then what you'll do is you'll get up super, super early, before the sun comes up, sometimes long before the sun comes up, and you'll have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a cup of hot chocolate, and then you'll get on the back of a safari vehicle and you'll get tucked up with blankets if it's winter, and then you'll go out and you'll look for animals, and you'll be out for a couple of hours and you'll see lots of exciting different things, and you'll see zebra and giraffe and maybe a lion or a leopard if you're really lucky, and an elephant. And then you come back and you have some breakfast, and then you can, when you're a little bit older, you can go out on a bushwalk with one of the guides. They can take you walking in these areas as long as they're very, very careful. And then that afternoon you go on another drive. Annalie, you want to know if my job is easy or hard. Sometimes there are things about it that are hard, and sometimes we work very hard, but I don't think it's hard at all, not really. Because for me, Annalie, I can't imagine doing anything else, and I think that makes me really, really lucky, because a lot of people have to go into work and they have to worry about being in an office and they don't really want to go. But every morning I wake up, I'm excited to go to work, and I think that makes what we do easy, because it's not really a job, it's what we live for. I'm just going to race through here. Let me just go through this dip very quickly. Hold on, everybody, it's bumpy. There we go. Should be better now. Now, let's say you want to know, is this car hard to drive? No, not hard at all. You don't need to be big or strong to be a safari guide, especially because most of what we do is driving around in a car like this. You learn certain tricks. You learn how to drive off-road, you learn how to drive through mud and through water and through rivers, but that's something you can learn. And like anything that you do, we do this for at least 8 hours a day. We drive these vehicles most of the time. So if you practice something for 8 hours a day, you don't even have to think about doing it. So no, it's not too hard to do at all. It's something that you just learn to do. It's very easy. All I've got to do is push my left foot in, push the gear stick down, and off we go. So it's not too hard to do. Hambia. Oh, you guys have got such fantastic questions today. Hambia, you want to know, if we see footprints, do we always know what it is? No, not always. And sometimes it's not just about the footprints, because I think most of the footprints we know by now. But it's not just about the footprints. Let me tell you the story of a question I got asked by a master tracker, and there are some people out here that are experts at tracking and looking at footprints in the sand. And he asked us about these tiny little scratches in the mud where a bird called a swallow had come and gathered up mud and put it in its nest. But we didn't see the swallow. He just wanted us to tell him what had made those scratches in the mud. So no, we don't always know. Sometimes it's a mystery. Sometimes we see something that we don't know. But most of the footprints, the lions, the leopards, the elephants, the rhino, the buffalo, most of those animals we know. Sometimes you get a track, like a paw print, and it's been stepped on by an elephant. And all that's left, it's a dacre. All that's left is a toe. Right, I'm turning off my lights now because there's an antelope and I don't want to blind it with our lights. But while we carry on in the dark, Tristan is on his way home from Chitwa.
Well, we are, but we've just spotted a little cat that's run across the road, and it looks like a little genet. Now, I'm trying to see where it went. It's somewhere here in the grass. The problem with genets is that they're very quick and they're very small, and so to see it in the long grass is very difficult. Ferg, can you... Oh, there it is. See it there, Ferg? There we go. Now you can see it's just disappearing. Oh, it's gone into the long grass here, unfortunately. Oh, there it is. So it's just gone into the long grass. Now, this is a little nocturnal individual that'll come out at night, and it hunts little birds and insects and scorpions and varying other little things. But unfortunately, I think it's disappeared into the grass. They are quite shy because they're nocturnal animals, and so that's why we don't see them. Now, I'm just trying to reverse back a little bit to see. No, I can't see him. Sorry, Ferg. Well, I hope you all got a little glimpse of him. It's got a tail that's bandy. It's got these rings of black and white on it. I also spotted another little creature just now before I saw the genets, but they've also disappeared, unfortunately. There was some bush babies around. Now, a bush baby is a type of primate. Oh, there it is. Ferg, I think if I go back, you might get it. Hold on. There we go, Ferg. How's that? In that tree in the middle of the light. There it is. You see the bush baby jumping? There it is. Oh, it's just jumped away. They have like hydraulic legs, and so as they jump, they can jump big distances. There we go. Did you see it there? There it goes. It's jumping through there. Well, Melody, we can get quite close to some of the animals, so things like the elephants. Just now when, unfortunately, we lost a bit of signal, the elephants were not even 2 meters from the front of the car, so they were very, very close. That's probably in 2 meters, is close to 6-7 feet around that area, so not far at all. Sometimes you'll find even with the lions and the leopards, they'll walk right past the car within a few centimeters of the car, so or a few inches. They really don't mind too much. Unfortunately, I think we've lost our bush babies. They are very, very agile little creatures, and so jumped away, but that was exciting. At least we got to see 2 of the nocturnal, and now Jamie's got another nocturnal animal that she wants to show you that is very, very cool because it can change colors.
They are very, very cool indeed. Even this one that is enjoying a little bit of a nap this evening. So Tristan told you it's something that can change color. This is a sleeping chameleon. And chameleons, of course, can go a whole load of different colors. They can turn black, they can turn yellow. Now, Ava, you want to know, how do chameleons change color? Well, Ava, it's quite complicated, but in the cells of their skin, they can expand and contract certain cells that have a certain color in them. And you know how you can combine red and blue to make purple, and they kind of do that. So they'll often combine blue and yellow to make green. like the color that it's showing at the moment. They've also got lots of black pigment called melanin, and they can expand and contract those cells in their skin to change to different colors. And chameleon don't just do it when they want to hide away. They also do it to tell you what their mood is. So if a chameleon is being attacked by something, or it feels scared and wants to look scary in some way, then what it will do is it will turn an almost black color, or sometimes it'll get really, really bright colors so that it can scare away whatever's attacking it. Because lots of things like to eat chameleons, birds of prey being one of their big predators. Oh, good morning. Look, there's an ant, there's a little termite right next to you. Don't you want to eat it? I saw it in the back there on the leaves. And of course the chameleon could shoot out its tongue and grab it on the sticky end. Now this is a small chameleon, it's about the size of my hand. But Jordan, you want to know what is the biggest lizard that we get here in South Africa? Well, the biggest lizard that we get is a lizard called a leguavaan, or a rock monitor, or a water monitor, so a monitor lizard. And monitor lizards are relatives of the Komodo dragon. Now we don't get Komodo dragons here, but a monitor lizard is a relative. It's quite a lot smaller than a Komodo dragon, but it could reach over a meter in length. That's over 3 feet that a monitor lizard can be. Now, Kevin, you want to know if chameleons can turn gold or silver. No, they can't. There are certain creatures out here that do look silver. Something like a dewdrop spider looks very, very silver, but I've never seen a chameleon that's turned gold or silver before. That's a very hard color for them to produce. So no, they don't turn gold or silver. Green, white, red, black, yellow. Those are the main colors that a chameleon will produce. I keep seeing that insect wandering about and thinking maybe he's going to reach out and grab it with his tongue. But I think he's feeling a bit too sleepy. Janetta, you want to know what a chameleon's predators are. Birds of prey. An eagle would eat a chameleon. A snake could eat a chameleon. Something like that genet that you saw with Tristan might eat a chameleon, if it spotted it. What else? An owl. An owl would eat a chameleon. So mostly birds, but snakes as well, are the main predators of chameleons. But it makes sense that they're so well camouflaged, because birds have very, very good eyesight. But even a bird would struggle to spot this chameleon, because if Seb zooms out a little bit, there, look how well hidden it. Annalie, you want to know if chameleons hibernate. They don't. They do something known as estivating, but it's basically the same thing, and they do it in our winter season when it gets very, very dry. And they find a secret place and they go and sleep, and their body slows down. Right, on that note, unfortunately, you all have to go back to school, and I have to say goodbye to our regular viewers as well. So a big thank you to Sebastian for all of his wonderful camera work. He's the gentleman that sits behind the camera and is very, very shy, so you only get to see his thumb this evening. And a thank you to Kirsty in Final Control, as well as to Lou, and most importantly, who's your G2? Chantal, thank you to Chantal, and a big thank you to all of our viewers. We'll see you on the Sunrise Safari tomorrow morning. Join us to see if my luck changes. Bye-bye, everybody.